know that I mentioned that it was over 20. We believe it was forwarded to even far more than that. And immediately it was picked up by the San Francisco Chronicle, which published sensitive information about the material condition of the naval warship. If he didn't think, it was my opinion, that if he didn't think that information was going to get out into the public in this information age that we live in, then he was A, too naive or too stupid to be the commanding officer of a ship like this. The alternate is that he did it on purpose. And that's a serious violation of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, which you are all familiar with. And I can tell you one other thing. Because he did that, he put it in the public forum, and it's now become a big controversy in Washington, D.C. and across the country about a martyr CO who wasn't getting the help he needed and therefore had to go through the chain of command, a chain of command which includes the media. And I'm going to tell you something, all of you. There is never a situation where you should consider the media a part of your chain of command. You can jump the chain of command if you want and take the consequences. You can disobey the chain of command and take the consequences. But there is no situation where you go to the media, because the media has an agenda. And the agenda that they have depends on which side of the political aisle they sit. One of the things about his email that bothered me the most was saying that we're not at war. Well, we're not technically at war. But let me tell you something. The only reason we're dealing with this right now is because a big authoritarian regime called China was not forthcoming about what was happening with this virus. And they put the world at risk to protect themselves.
This is Trump's acting Navy Secretary Thomas Modly smearing the former captain of the very ship he's standing on, the USS Theodore Roosevelt, to his own former crew. A crew, mind you, that gave him an ovation that went viral across social media when he was fired. Which made it all the more tone-deaf when Modly opted to use the ship-wide intercom system to attack that very man. By the way, keep in mind that Modly is only serving in this position because he was okay with Trump pardoning a war criminal, as opposed to the former Navy Secretary Richard Spencer. That's why Modly is there, just, in case you needed a character assessment. Now, to be clear, this all started because Captain Crozier's email to Navy leaders that detailed the failures of the Navy to provide resources to quickly move coronavirus-positive sailors off the ship was leaked to the San Francisco Chronicle. That led Trump's acting Navy Secretary Thomas Modly to announce that he'd lost confidence in Crozier, a sentiment that was echoed by Trump.
More importantly, he wrote a letter. The letter was a 5-page letter from a captain, and the letter was all over the place. That's not appropriate. I don't think that's appropriate. And these are tough people. These are tough, strong people. I thought it looked terrible, to be honest with you. Now, they made their decision. I didn't make the decision. Secretary of Defense was involved, and a lot of people were involved. I thought it was terrible what he did. To write a letter? I mean, this isn't a class on literature. This is a captain of a massive ship.
Consider, too, that the Trump administration has blamed China since the beginning, and including during this leaked audio, because of Chinese leadership's denialism and punishment of whistleblowers. And yet Crozier was effectively fired because he pushed back against our own administration's denialism about the outbreak. He needed help making sure that his crew was safe. He wasn't getting that help, so he blew the whistle on Navy leaders dropping the ball, and he was punished for it. So Trump and the rest of his cabinet might be content to scapegoat China until they are blue in the face, but to be unequivocally clear, they are behaving in the exact same way. Modly also repeats this talking point that we're currently at war, but we're not, unless you count an administration failing to prepare for a virus that we knew would eventually come here, but opted instead to pretend it doesn't exist as a, quote, war. The only reason this talking point persists is because the only way the Trump administration operates is if it's perceived as fighting someone or something. So whether it's immigrants or